This is not
Yeah, I figured you had a blue mug, so that's why I went with this one too.
Well, how's your bourbon, huh?
Hang on, let me load this again here.
That was supposed to be 3 o'clock yesterday, buddy. I've been drinking since then, so you know.
Oh, there you go. It's 3 o'clock somewhere. So you were born in Kuwait?
I was born in Baghdad.
Oh, wow.
I was born in Baghdad. We went to Abu Dhabi when, and I'll tell you all about this later today, but was born in Baghdad, went to Abu Dhabi with my dad, who was a civil engineer. He was working on infrastructure, bridge, and airport. And actually, I have pictures of Walter Gropius doing a barbecue on a job site in Abu Dhabi with my dad, which I came across when I was in design school. And you can imagine going, what the heck?
Here we go.
Gropius with my father? What is this all about?
Hang on. And
then we went to Kuwait in 1971, and I was there until I went to college in Switzerland. Yeah, you and I have a lot.
Welcome, everybody, to the Raad Life, the only talk radio show that takes you along with host and age explorer Rod Gantos on his continuing journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older. The Raad Life is brought to you this week by Your Home for a Lifetime, a company dedicated to empowering you to stay safely, independently, and comfortably in your own home. And now here is your host, Rod Gantos.
Where in the world is Rod Gantos? We couldn't get him to stop recounting his world journeys here to start the show.
You know, you should be used to that by now after 6 years.
I know. Trying to start the show and he's telling me the world story.
It's like a dysfunctional relationship I have for you. I think in some cases my relationship with you is probably longer than some other ones I've had.
It could be.
Good or bad, you know, I guess we're stuck with one another.
I could be.
And no, I am, you know, although Eric did accuse me of this being not tea, but this is actually tea. It's turmeric tea. That's what happens when you get older. You start drinking turmeric tea. First of all, before we
you look like you're in a spaceship. First of all, if anybody's looking at this, you look like you're in a spaceship. The Rod Pod.
You know, thank you. Number one, engage.
It is. It's the Rod Pod.
No, it's funny what you could do with Zoom, right? And I thought since actually February 6 years ago, is when we started the Raad Life.
No, really?
And this is the first episode in February, other than you and I basically rambling on while I'm in the car, that we're in a pseudo studio doing a show. And I just wanted to take a minute and just acknowledge that 6 years ago, Mr. Paul Roberts foolishly gave me an opportunity to do a show.
What was I thinking?
And he has regretted it ever since.
I was asking the same thing, Paul.
I must have been drinking that day. I'm Irish, you know it all. It could have been.
Yeah, well, you know, do you have all? I mean, I know you moved studios, but did you move the important part of the studio with you?
We did not move the booth. First of all, let's do a shout out. We're at the UCI Beale Applied Innovation Center, the new Beale Applied Innovation, not the old Cove. Most people have seen the new one that opened and closed under COVID. Spectacular. They took over Broadcom's world headquarters, 3-story building, and we're on the 3rd floor with the esports and the wet labs and all the other cool stuff up here.
Yeah, so Paul's got a nice little location at UCI now. It's been a great 6 years. I just want to take a minute and just say thank you, Paul. It's been fun.
Thank you.
Continues to be, and we've had the privilege and honor to actually have a lot of great guests on. Over the years.
I remember you had Geronimo's grandson. You had Geronimo's grandson on a show.
Geronimo's grandson.
I'll never forget that.
The list, and for anybody who's interested, you can go and check out all these old episodes. They are on OC Talk Radio's YouTube channel. You just do a search under the Raad Life. But again, like I said, we've had the benefit, the privilege and honor to actually draw a bunch of guests on different topics, and today's no exception. We got a great gentleman with us today that I have been wanting to get on the show for a while.
We got Jimi Hendrix with us. That's who we got. We got Jimi Hendrix.
Mr. Eric Morley from Blue Sea Advertising. And he actually is the victim of his own exposure. He put out something. I've known Eric, I don't even know how long, Eric. I've known. I don't even remember. Do you remember? I don't even remember.
You know what? I totally forget. I mean, our circles have crossed so many times.
So many times.
The last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know.
I don't even remember. It might have even been like an online thing where I, commented on something on LinkedIn or whatever. But Eric basically put out a report, which I don't know if you guys do this every year. Eric, do you do this every year?
You know what? This is our 4th year. and the team typically gets going on it. They'll start on March of the previous year, and
Yeah.
they'll build it and go and get through it. And we'd really try to launch it the first week of January. This year was definitely different than everything else, but we finally got it out, which is launched the first week of February, and it's true and tried. So the magic is inside there, the systems are inside there, the vision's inside there. It's basically it's a workable cheat sheet.
Well, and for those who are listening to what we're talking about, it's a marketing report for 2021. It is your industry. You guys are extremely seasoned in the industry with 20 plus years of experience, multiple industries, multiple levels and sizes of businesses. So, very agile, very boutique in a way, but can handle all kinds of sizes. And before we go further, let me just put this up, because the website is right there for anybody who's listening and would like to find out more about Blue Sea. There's the website and Eric's face on it. I wasn't sure if we were going to go side by side or speaker format, so I want to make sure that you were with me all the time.
And I'm looking straight at you.
Yes, you're looking. You're actually looking behind me. It kind of worries me a little bit. But
there you go.
But the report I found very, very good. Okay, and for those who don't know, prior to my interior design foray, I actually hold a degree in economics, an undergrad in economics, and a master's in marketing from the Drucker Center. So I'm always interested in not just the boilerplate jargon and sort of the regurgitated stuff, but actually genuine content that is not only useful, but also inspirational. And I know just from the nature and culture of your business, you guys have that credo anyway. And I found this report, to be honest, very timely, because you and I were talking off camera before the show, and we were saying how, the last year was definitely challenging for everybody. I don't care who you are. Yes, last year was very challenging. It came out of nowhere. Even worse, it came on the heels of a first quarter that was like smoking. Right. And so we all had to basically do what we needed to do, and some people were able to navigate it a bit better. But here we are a year later, and this is not something that, hey, this happened on my summer vacation, or, this took 2 weeks and it was over. This is now part and parcel of our life. And I don't think they say you develop a new habit in 30 days. Well, we've had almost 12 months. So behavior patterns, purchase patterns, business strategies, all of that stuff, I would think has been impacted. So why don't we walk through some of what you guys experienced, both as your own business and for your clients the last year, Eric, and then maybe bring it into this report and where you see what people should do and and what you're advising people to embrace, basically, as a way forward.
Well, first of all, thanks a lot for going to our website, downloading it, reviewing it. The whole thing is now in our fourth year is we always try to do a marketing outlook that is relevant, that's consistent with the times, but it's that we spend the previous year looking at all the sources. Our team spends way too much time looking at it, but they're really passionate about it. And so we actually rewrote this 2021 marketing outlook 3 times. We were in par as of like January, February. We were actually way ahead of time. And then obviously when March, April came along, it's like, whoa, okay, we have to look at this a whole different way.
Right.
And then we had it really together. I'm thinking around September. And then we had this thing called November 17th. Mm-hmm. And so we had to rewrite it again. And so it's an ongoing process. And the thing is that as a company, as a team here, we learn so much about it. I'm always a huge proponent is really enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and and when you come out the other end is you're going to actually achieve more. So that's a big part of it. The key thing is just the first part is just stating where we're at, what the changes are, where things are, where we stand. The second part is that we really looked at the winners and the losers, who did what, things that happened, who really stood out and made a very strong pivot. And I think we're actually going to include that in next year's marketing outlook too.
Great idea.
Really identifying someone that made a pivot.
Yeah.
No matter what, good, bad, or ugly. And then the backside is that we tell the secrets, and we tell the secrets of the secret sauce of how to get to that next point. And one of the big things that we focus on here is we focus on a thing called brand power. Brand power is a platform. Inside of it has 5 specific systems. From those systems is the first one is clarity. And so what happens with clarity is we really look to understand exactly what the brand is about, where it's at, how it got there, and where it's going. We systematically actually put it back together. The craziest thing is that, and I didn't see this coming, is last year we did about 2 to 3 brand clarity programs for clients. The year before we did about 2 to 3. 2020, it's like it was almost like something that was sold in a garage sale. We've done more than 25. Yeah. And so it's companies that are really seeking their clarity, really understanding is that not only do they need to pivot as a company, but they also need to relook at their brand for what their goal is. Are they looking to sell their company? Are they looking to realign their company? Are they looking to refresh it? Are they looking to get going? Or are they looking to conquer new areas?
So let me ask you one thing while we're talking about this particular phase, because I think it's interesting that a lot of people, when, it's like, what do you do? It's kind of hard to define. A lot of people, unless they have gone through this exercise, they find themselves, whether successful or not successful, where they've just been doing, they've been reacting, and they don't have the clarity of what their brand is, and under normal conditions that is super critical, but under a condition like we were dealing with, which was just a lot of uncertainty and sort of shifting sand underneath our feet as businesses, that if you didn't have that, I would say that you were absolutely rudderless, even more so than normal. So I can see where a lot of people were looking to do that. Do you think the motivation last year was out of a sense of crisis, like they felt that they needed to reconnect with that and reevaluate it, or what do you think drove that 2 to 3 to 25? I mean, that's a big change.
It's just asking that question. They ask that question: are we clear with our message? And I always start the conversation is, tell me what your message is. Tell me what your story is. Well, our story started 10 years ago, and this is that and the other thing. It's like, well, what that story is, that's already outdated. That's already yesterday's mail. Right. That check's been cashed, but you don't do what you did 10 years ago. So you have to relook at it. One of our clients is they were up for sale. They wanted to sell their business. They knew that their existing brand will not properly communicate exactly what the company is and where it's going and what's happening with it. So they went through a brand power clarity process, and they got 5x from what they were asking. Another one of our clients is Segway. Their whole thing was that they were up for sale. They were a United States business. They had a couple of targets, and they needed to relook, rebrand, remessage, reposition their company, and then launch it at CES, where these 3 targets were going to be. From this, they actually got 7x. And so the investment into creating clarity, I mean, it's even like in your business, is that if someone's going to have a multi-million-dollar house, they're going to get X for it. But then they put you into it, and you mix it up, redesign the interior, revamp it with a small investment, they're going to get X plus. And it works every time. It's a formula in life that it's not just putting makeup on things, but it's like tearing things down and then building them up. So that's kind of what happens here. And then,
I think appropriately and relevantly, right? Because I'll give you a perfect example that happened even yesterday. I went up to Glendale, a former client of mine. I've done restaurants for him before. I've done men's grooming retail locations for him for all different sizes.
I thought you were going to say you cut his hair too.
No, and he didn't cut mine either. But
there you go.
I promise next week. But I'm trying to keep it a little longer with the pole. It's almost at a point where I can't stand it, so it's there. But I went up there, and it was I had no idea what it was, other than he had called me in January and said, I got this project I want to do. It's a house, and I'm like, okay, he lives in his own house. We just did the front yard for him. So maybe he's doing some flips because he had some, the last 2 ventures he did kind of vested, and so he's like looking for the next adventure. And so he said, but don't worry about it. Was having some medical issues with my dad and so forth with COVID in January. He said, don't worry about it. When you're ready, come out. So I ended up finally going out yesterday. I walked up to this house that's it turns out to be a 1925 Spanish revival in a very tree-lined neighborhood in Glendale, right? And big arch window in the front of the house, very cinematic setting, kind of. And I walked up to him and we were talking, and the first question, and it's kind of like the other side of my brain, right, kicked in. I was like, well, what's the purpose? Like, what are you planning to do with this? Is this a rental? Are you looking to flip it? And then we spent the next hour having a conversation relevant to the business side of this, the intentions and what he wanted to do. And then also the fact that there may be some leverageable, marketable material in the history of the house that could be used as a unique value proposition to differentiate it in the storytelling at that point. And I think in overall visit I was there, we probably had 25% of the time discussing interiors and design. And the rest of the time, it was actually about what is the purpose? What is and so, you're right. It's a formula for success in everything that we do, and super critical right now.
Well, and it's like you do the same thing we do. We're just in different industries.
Just a different medium,
you take it apart to solve that end problem on it.
Yep.
Where and I think the easiest way is that to explain this is it's almost like January with all the gyms. They have everything they're advertising that 6-week transformation, and you can do that there's a dream to do it. It's a 6-week transformation. It costs X, and you think you're going to get to the end of it. You're going to bail out at the 3rd week or 4th week because you're just done. You're excited the 1st week. You're excited the 2nd week. You're pumped up the 3rd week, and all of a sudden you got an excuse to bail out on the 4th week on it. And those are like short runs, and that's where brands will unfortunately go sometimes.
Yeah.
But as far as building a brand, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. But it's also the thing is that you need to have someone that's looking from like a 360 process. And I use the scenario as like the 6-week body transformation challenge from 24-hour fitness, or actually going through Starks, which we both know, 360-degree body transformation, life transformation.
Great group of guys and a great company, great approach and philosophy. Yeah, Stark and Irvine.
Yeah. So, and Newport Beach.
And Newport Beach, that's right.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing, and that's the difference is how you look at it and where you're.
So what industry do you? I mean, I kind of assume that you don't limit yourself, but do you limit yourself to a range of industries? Is it sort of luxury product and lifestyle? What? Because you mentioned Segway, you mentioned Stark. Can you just, for those who don't know and are not looking at the website right now, could you just kind of run through kind of like a list of people that you've been working with or work with, or industries that you specialize in?
Well, I think the easiest thing is that we work with companies that are forward thinking, and we focus on forward thinking industries. And we focus on our side as both the B2B and the B2C side. We understand the journeys between the B2B market and the B2C market, and totally different on it. And so you'll see us anywhere from the automotive space to technology to food and beverage is another part, to consumer goods, to even one of our sub areas is power sports. We're kind of known for power sports. Yeah. And then we've also been, again, on the spirits and beverage side. And so we typically fall through the whole thing. I think you kind of go back, our history of Blue Sea is like where we got started back in 1998 is we ran the marketing for 13 casinos in Las Vegas. That's kind of where we started. And then our second client was Absolute Vodka. And so it's like, okay, we're a bunch of gamblers that love to drink. That's what we kind of like, well, okay, we got to change.
Boy, I can back in 98. Oh, I can't imagine what those meetings were like, Eric.
Oh yeah. You know what? It was, you can only imagine. It was crazy times, but the idea is that what we did back then is exactly what we do right now is we get to the soul of the brand, and we get to really what makes it tick. And we're not just here to do, okay, eye candy to communicate. It's always about how that company is positioned, where it is in the marketplace, where the competitors are, understanding who we're selling to in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
That's always like kind of that big mistake that it's almost like we're really excited to get going and we want to jump to the creative right away. But if we don't understand who we're selling with, for what our products are and who our competition is, it's like, okay, we can't do this. And so even back then is, we're very, very key focused. And, luckily enough is I have an amazing partner in the business. Most partnerships last 3 to 4 years before they blow up. The biggest agency I worked for was 150 people, and that partnership lasted 7 years. My business partner is Jeff Bentley. I consider him probably the greatest creative director and brand strategist in Orange County. He understands how to get to the root of it. And actually, I think you've met him several times
Mm-hmm.
before. He has no ego attached. He's just ultimately curious. And then the account team and the creative team falls in place and makes everything happen. So the brand clarity is so important, but it's also the thing is it's like nowadays is that you really look at how are we going to pivot. So now we got the clarity together. It's like how are we going to take that message to the street? A business with a purpose is key now, and we talk about that in the marketing outlook as well. Is how
Well,
important.
take a minute about that, because when you say business with a purpose or relevance through purpose, right? And I think last year was very interesting. Like some of us actually, I think in our DNA we have sort of that mix a little bit of sort of that purpose, give back, pay it forward. That's also part of our business, whether it's a direct donation at the end of the year of proceeds, or just like encouraging internally that employees would basically participate in certain things, or social consciousness. It was very interesting to see last year how that became a very important ingredient in the mix.
Mhm.
and
Sure.
and it totally makes sense, right? Because I mean there was general pain that was shared by everybody. There was difficulty, and if you basically came across as very all about you, it actually could have damaged your brand in a manner that you may not recover from, or your
Mhm.
business, or even like so. The soul component became very important last year. Did you find that to be the case? Did you find? I mean, I know you've been involved in a couple of things that I want you to talk about that are kind of down that path.
Which I have no problem talking about because I love those things.
Well,
So
I promised Wing that we'd be talking about it, so you should talk
that,
about it.
free tacos for everyone, right?
Yeah, is
Well,
Charles
I,
on?
I
He
think
said he would be on there.
you know what, and Charles is a big part of it, and it's one of the things is that this started April. It started actually April 12th, and I think I always try to start this story off is that if we knew we'd be making history, we probably would have paid more attention to it. But everything that I kind of do in life on the outside of Blue Sea, it's all about adventure. It's about fun. It's about being a part of, different things.
Right.
Even to the point when we took Rachel down to Mexico for the first time to the wine country, it's like, okay, we like taking people to different things. And so what happens is that on April 12th,
Hmm.
is I get a phone call from Wayne. And first and foremost is no matter what, through the whole history of working with Wing has been like since I would say like 2005, is you just never say no. It's like you never know where the journey's going to end. It's always going to be an adventure. You're
Always
always
be
going to
open.
gain.
Always be open to receive, my friend. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Totally. Thank you for understanding that.
It's core to me, because that, and I mentioned to you earlier, being open to receive, being open to happy accidents that happen. To your point, it's the journey, and if you
Mhm.
embrace the journey, then whatever the ups and downs are, you're kind of in one way or the other having fun or learning, and
Right.
that really makes for an exciting life. Add to that an ingredient of curiosity. I'm set. I'm good.
Good. So your listening audience is probably on the side of their seat right now, waiting to hear what it is. But basically, what it is that it's called the California Love Drop.
Hmm.
And then, so on the 10th of April, Wahoo's and every other restaurant had challenges. They got closed down. They
Yeah.
between the 8th of April and the 10th, they lost 85% of their business. okay, I mean, that's just like
That's a killer. I mean,
man,
that's
60
yeah,
locations. How do you survive?
yeah,
And at that point, 4 of the restaurants were going to get closed down. 4 of the restaurants was equivalent to about 45 people. And
yeah,
these 45 people, and Wing says it best, is that these are more than employees. These are family.
right,
These are the people that just they they live and die by Wahoos, and they work and they give their life, their family.
yeah,
And so he, on the 12th of April, he calls me up and says, Eric, I need some help. You want to deliver some tacos with me? And it's like, okay, I'm thinking like, okay, it might be 20 tacos, 30 tacos, whatever. I didn't know what was going on. But he goes, yeah, just meet me at the Wahoo's here. We're gonna pick up tacos and we're gonna deliver them to Mission Hospital. And excuse me, Irvine Hospital in Irvine, Irvine Hoag Hospital. And so he goes, so I meet him there, and it was basically like 300 meals we put together. Unbeknownst to me, his brother Ed is in Fullerton packing up another 300 meals. So we get there and we have to pack up all these meals. I said, Wayne, there's only 2 of us. And he goes, no, no, I actually see 4 of us. Is you're going to call 3 of your friends to help out. So I got on the phone. I got friends to call just to drop in, package meals up, and we all delivered them to the Hoag Hospital in Irvine. This was on April 12th, and it was weird. It was like almost like people were zombies there. We were actually allowed in the hospital in the emergency center
right,
to actually set everything up and the whole thing. And we had Melissa from Yogurtland there. We had Monster Energy there. We had Paul from Hint Water there, and they brought all their product in just because nothing was going on. Monster Energy didn't have events to do sampling.
right,
Hint Water didn't have events to do sampling on it.
right,
Yogurtland they're shut down because they have, they had the same situation as everyone else. So they had to
right,
get rid of their product. So what happened is, so April went by, then companies started saying, it's like, hey, I love your love drop idea, which started as a complete joke. And then Wendy from KLOS jumped in and she says, you know what? I'm getting laid off right now because we're stopping all of the marketing. No one's buying anything. I've got time. Let me help out. So she joined the crowd, and then we started delivering all these meals. And then all these companies started calling up Wing. It's like, hey, my wife works at this hospital. Can you deliver to this? Can you? My wife works at the police station. My husband works at the fire station. So he starts getting all these orders, which
mm-hmm,
basically the great thing about the whole thing. And things happen for a reason, and is this saved the 45 employees and the 4 stores from closing, which is a miracle. Now moving forward is we're into June. We go back to Hoag Hospital, Irvine, and the chaplain, we deliver the food meals to him. And the overall thing about it is I really believe that the California Love Drop was kept my sanity alive because
mm-hmm,
typically is I overthink things.
mm-hmm,
I look at things from other angles, and I spend too much time trying to figure out what that next step was. Is where
mm-hmm,
we were delivering 3 and 4 a day.
mm-hmm,
We were doing, we had the grocery distribution centers at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. And then at 10 we have to deliver to the hospitals, and then at 4 p.m. we're doing to the police stations. Oh yeah, and we had riots going on at the same time, so
yeah,
we had to be kind of very careful what's going on. And then Van Shoes got involved, which took it to a whole different level. But then in June, we went back to the hospital, and the chaplain says, "Hey, I just wanted to give you this." And actually, hold on, I'm gonna get off screen, but I have to get something because I have to show it to you. So hold on.
yeah. Go get it. It's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna just share this too while Eric's getting whatever he is gonna show me. But I totally can relate to that idea of kind of keeping your sanity. I kind of ended up doing the same thing when we couldn't go into the studio to do the show, the Rad Life, which was going to be like once a week. And I ended up doing the Rad Life almost on a daily basis, sometimes 2 shows a day. And I was recording them from here. And then I was inspired. And this is sort of another kind of byproduct of what you guys are doing. It's also inspirational to others who are having difficulty and are watching this thanks to the social media. I was inspired by a lady by the name of Stephanie Odo, who lives in Laguna Niguel, who's a friend of my sister's, and she put together about 600 I think I can't imagine it was 600. Maybe it was 100. Let's just say 200 sewers, ladies that were sewing masks. You remember early on last year where you couldn't get any masks. The hospitals are saying don't buy any masks because they were low on supply. And these ladies, between fabric donations, elastic donation, whatever, they were basically sewing masks. And they got to the point where they supplied the Teddy Roosevelt, that ship that basically got hit with COVID, through Guam, through the Marine base with masks. By the time they kind of called it quits on the organized component, they had sewn 60,000 masks. Okay, I had her on the show. I even had another show where she had all her sewers on. We had like almost like a Brady Bunch kind of screen situation with everybody on there. But that then inspired me to say, okay, what is my creative outlet other than, loving the fact that I'm connecting with people while I'm sequestered using the show as a medium, so I can actually talk to some people about something relevant, touch base with them on how they're doing during that period. I ended up setting up a mask company under TaylorMade Face Mask, right? And it was kind of,
which we followed.
What's the thing that I saw the other day? Take risks with your fashion, but don't take risks with your health, right? So it became a sanity thing that also had sort of a positive purpose to it. So when you say that, I totally can understand what you're saying, and I just wanted to just point the focus for a minute about the inspirational component that comes out of doing something like this. You don't know how many people you have touched that were not recipient of food by just simply watching your example, you guys.
But it's interesting because, we were driving around a lot, and we didn't, radio. We started listening to your podcasts because we'd be driving from
You're too kind, buddy.
Huh? Well,
you're too kind.
No, I mean, we followed your journey with your masks and everything that you were doing on it. And we were learning from other people, trying to figure out exactly. I think Wing and I were searching for why we're doing this in the first place. We knew what the outcome was, but the whole thing is the reason why. So kind of going back to my story is, so the chaplain comes up to us. It was myself, Wing, Paul from Hintwater, Wendy from KLOS, Melissa from Yogurtland, and then Charles from Antis Roofing. And he gave us this challenge coin. You guys see it? And
I see it, yes.
It says, is like life-saving, gone viral, is 2020 coronavirus pandemic on the back.
That's awesome.
And he goes, I want to tell you what you did in April. And it's like, well, we served some food, brought some food, the whole thing. And, I came home smelling like tacos. My wife says, hey, you got a new job, right? Like, no, during that time there was a gentleman from Irvine, and he flew to Wuhan for his parents' birthdays. And then what he did is basically the border got shut down, so he had to escape Wuhan, and he had to hitchhike to Beijing. Beijing was, with everything going on, they shut down their airport. So he, as well as thousands of other people, stayed in the airport for 2 days straight. From there, he went to Heathrow. He was in there for 2 to 3 days straight. Yeah. And because Heathrow completely closed down, but people were basically living in the airport. And then he finally got a flight to New York, landed in New York, and that's when the United States shut down and said, and it's funny because I remember back there, it's like, I started watching the news, and it was like all the air flight, boom, 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 went black. Nothing was moving. So he was there for 4 days with thousands of people. And then he got a flight to Seattle. He was there for 2 days. From Seattle to San Francisco, he was there for a couple of days. He finally landed in John Wayne Airport. But along those period of times, he was amongst thousands and thousands of people, bumper to bumper in the airport with the same problem. He passed out at John Wayne Airport and was taken to Hoag Hospital because that is the disease management hospital in the area. And then he passed away. He was victim number one. And it was like, oh, and that just hit me. And then the chaplain handed us the challenge coins. I keep this with me every love drop we go to. I have this in my pocket so I can remember exactly why I'm doing this in the first place.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is like you put things in perspective is that he was in all these airports. He was from Wuhan. He was infected. How many
And he
people
passed
did
it
he
on.
give the disease from, too? And it's like that really got to the point. Moving forward is tomorrow, Saturday morning, which I'm really super excited, is we're going to Martin Luther King Hospital and we're going to be doing our 200th draw. We're close to delivering close to 19,000 meals now. Oh, I don't know how many monster drinks, how many hint waters, how many frozen yogurts from Yogurt Land, but it's more of a movement, and I call it a sanity movement.
Hmm.
Is that it really? And the best part about it is there's always secrets into any disaster. Is I have met the best people I've ever met in my life. I have bonded these great relationships. When we were at Chalk Hospital, I think it was like the 150th. Is we actually got a bunch of toys because we did a toy drive prior to that with Sean Lee from the Pierce Group, and so we delivered toys to Chalk Hospital. So we had about 1,000 toys that were actually unloading and delivering food at the same time. And there was this kid that came by. He was in a wheelchair and his mom was pushing it. Um, and I saw him, and there was just this sparkle. And Wendy, I said, "Hi, how you doing?" And he's looking, and Wendy from her is like, "Hey, can I get you a toy? What can I get you?" And he points to the monster trucks. We gave him the monster trucks. He took it home and didn't expect to hear anything. And then I got a DM from his mom, and we've been in touch ever since. And he's going back in for several procedures. He's really, he's really a charger for it, and he's
Yeah.
going for it and making it happen. But I met that, I built that relationship there. Is all of the people from? I mean, I got to be honest with you. I have never had so many clients meeting me as fresh out of the blue and saying, "Okay, great, we want to hire you." I have I have 4 TV clients that are currently running TV with us that just came because of the California Love Drop, and that was not my thing. It was not my new. It was not in my new business pitch. I
That's
mean,
what makes it even more poignant, Eric. I mean, it's how should I put this? Not only did you find purpose and sanity in the doing, right?
mhm.
You did not do it with a sense of what is in this for me. You genuinely were giving. What was in it for you is afterwards you realized that it was actually keeping you sane. It was keeping you on track. It was giving you.
I got a free meal every day. That's basically what it was.
Well, you okay? You were getting a free meal too, but I have volunteered for longer time than I care to even remember. Okay, and I always tell people volunteering is sometimes you feel like you are getting away with so much because of the feedback and the reward that you get that's rewards your soul in such a way that no paycheck will ever do. And
Right.
so if you have the need in your DNA, in your makeup, to actually fulfill and feed that side of your soul, I encourage people to go volunteer. You'll find your place and whatever. But when I used to be on the board of an organization called Rebuilding Together Orange County that was around for about 20 years. It's part of a 300 affiliate in the country. Before the economic downturn, we were the organization that was doing all the remodels on homes and things like that. And then Habitat was doing all new construction. And then when the economy kind of tanked, they kind of moved into that space. But the point was that when you go on a Saturday morning and you're replacing the felt carpet on a ramp
Hmm.
of a trailer home park in Buena Park home,
Hmm.
where it's a 84-year-old mother who is taking care, who's more or less blind, who's
Hmm.
taking care of her 53-year-old daughter who's in a wheelchair.
Wow.
And
Wow.
there's a tear in the ramp fabric that makes it very difficult for this woman to roll her daughter up the ramp because it catches on the wheel. And then you
Hmm.
find out that they haven't had running water in there for 6 months. Whatever you do there, it's going to have amazing impact on them, but you give unconditionally, right? And the reward comes, but that's not why we're doing it. I mean, what makes it very poignant for all you guys is that you're doing this thing from the right place in your heart to give. And you're getting rewarded in so many ways, including, to your point, the people that are looking, and we kind of touched on it a minute ago, the people that are looking at you and going, well, that's not only a business with a heart, that's a business owner with a heart. And so I want to be affiliated with them. You know, the old adage, right? We say that people do business with people that they like.
Exactly. Yeah. And to be honest with you, that was not my objective. It was just organic. It just organically
the best kind.
happened. But it's the people that we've come across is the celebrities, the media personalities, the CEOs of the very large companies.
Right.
You know, it's we just did a podcast last week with Glenn Stearns, and you know what, he does his, and you know, with Undercover Billionaire, and then you know, Wing was back east for his Return to Erie program on Discovery. It's weird how everything just kind of works together. And then the other thing is you know, getting featured on major radio every single Friday for 5 minutes to tell what we did during the week. It's like, who's crazy enough? I mean, that alone, that's probably equivalent to like $7,500.
Who's crazy enough, Eric? Let me tell you who's crazy enough. The guy that basically, whose picture is underneath us, that basically 6 years ago said, hey, come do a show. If somebody had told me 10 years prior that doing a show would open the kind of doors, and again, I have not, in 6 years, I have not asked for 1 penny to sponsor the show. Okay, I have covered the show.
I'll send you a penny.
Well, you can send me a penny. I might take that medallion from you, but no, just to borrow.
No,
okay, fine. I'll settle for the penny. But seriously, right? I mean, every time someone says, well, how are you monetizing this? I'm like, I don't know, but that's not where my focus is. My focus is I'm doing this, I'm meeting people, I'm feeling like my life is being rewarded, and I basically, maybe in a small way, I'm making a positive impact on other people. But we're talking about stuff that people don't talk about. They don't want to talk about it. We're being respectful about it. I tell people I'm an equal opportunity griller, so you know, be careful when you come on. But this is, if I knew 10 years ago that they would open the kind of doors and indirectly build a brand of me in the process, I would have probably done it, although I would have probably been too scared to do it. Like, it was, again, right timing at the right place. And Paul will tell you, when I said yes to this, I said, well, I'm going to do it on a monthly basis because I don't know if I'm going to continue to do this in 6 months. So I think what you're saying, and what I just basically shared, is be courageous to take a journey down a path that is not one that you have traveled. Right. And whether it is by virtue of necessity, like you're doing it because you need to do something because what you're doing is not working, or even better still, just make it part of your makeup, or your daily living, your lifestyle.
Well, it's one of our values at Blue Sea is get outside your comfort zone, and this definitely is me primarily. I'm an introvert. Is that for me to do things like some of the things we've done? Like, oh my gosh. I mean, we went to Watts and basically delivered 700 meals to Watts. And who's there is the LA Galaxy, because they don't have anything going on, but they still need to do community service to keep their brand. Right. And then 4 weeks later, we're in the middle of Compton because we did I've got a crazy staff here that they commit to doing things like backpack donations, and then during Christmas time is they go ahead and support a family and then a military and do the whole thing. So we got about 500 backpacks, and we decided to stuff them, and we went to Compton and came out at the preschool where everyone's going to go start back to school. Why was it so important? Because a lot of these people's parents lost their jobs during this. And of course, in all of Wing's fashion, it's only the hottest day ever. Do you remember that day last summer? It was like 195 degrees in the shade. We were there in Compton in the pavement, and it was the coolest experience possible. And it's like throughout this whole process is that it got me outside of my comfort zone. I remember the time we actually went to Martin Luther King Hospital. It was the very first time Charles came with us, and Wing invited him, and Charles is just kind of standing there, kind of almost like fish out of water. Every time we do a love drop, we have veterans, people have done before, and then we have fresh fish. Those the fresh fish are like, they're the ones that are first time around. So we explain the whole thing and everything. That Charles was definitely fresh fish. And so he walks up to me afterwards, after we did this whole thing, and he goes, "So outside of hanging out with Wing, what do you do?" And I didn't, I wish I would have had the quickest wit possible and would have just said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to start a roofing company tomorrow, and I'm going to crush every roofing company in Orange County. And there's this one that's on my radar that does all this great work for the HOAs and does all this charity stuff. I'm just going to crush them. I'm going to rule the thing, and I'm going to put them out of business." I wasn't quick enough. I basically said, "It's like, yeah, we are I work for Wing. We've been in this agency for quite some time now. And this, basically is we're doing brand strategy, marketing, content development. We help companies become famous. That's ultimately the end. And through our bold process is this makes things really exciting. Not all clients are great for us." And he goes, "Oh, okay. So what else do you do?" I'm like, "Okay, come on." Then I said, "Well, we deliver tacos to hospitals. Would you like to come to our next one?" He goes, "Oh, I'm all in." And so the thing is that when he said that, it's like, "I'm all in." It's like, that's the kind of people that we have in the California Love Drop.
That's so Charles. That's so Charles, right?
Well, and then it's the other people is that we used to, hand write what was inside it. A steak burrito or a chicken burrito or a veggie. And it was me writing these, and it's like over and over, and on my hand afterwards, when you get to like 600, 700, your hand's like falling apart. And so we had Jennifer, and she works at EDS, and she goes, "Hey, how about if I do some labels for you?" It's like, "Okay, cool, thumbs up." I'm thinking I might be little sticker labels, whatever. She comes with this beautiful label, and it has all the partners on it, the whole thing, and everything's bagged up and ready to go. And it's like, okay, well, that's the contribution, and I call it creative contributions, and the contribution to making it even more so special. So that's kind of where we've been at, and why I really believe that everyone needs to get outside their comfort zone. I mean, what are you going to do otherwise? Go home, watch the news?
Yeah, no. I mean, no. But I think it's like that level of contentment, right? I mean, you gotta have a level of contentment, but you also have we all have so much to give. Okay,
Sure.
we really all have so much to give, and we give it professionally, but we have so many other layers of giving. I mean, it's tiring to watch Charles, to be honest with you, right? I mean, right? It's tiring to watch Charles, and the man has energy.
Oh yeah.
Plus, right? And I love seeing him do that, because at the end of the day, it's a legacy thing. I mean, the way I look at it, Eric, honest, it's like, what are you going to leave behind, right? You're going to leave behind a reputation. You're going to leave behind a positive impact on, hopefully, people. I remember, this is actually very, very, very timely. I've shared this on the show before. I remember seeing on Instagram this guy who happened to be he got a little exposure too on like a local channel or something. He's a younger guy, kind of aspiring actor, and he lives in an apartment complex somewhere in LA. And he actually had a lady who was in her 80s that was living alone down the corridor in her own apartment. That was, she was living on her own. Found out about it. They ended up basically, getting together and eating popcorn, watching movies together. They ended up where they were basically roommates, right? And then she passed away. And he shared their story after she passed away, but he shared it from the perspective of, it was such a rewarding thing for him. And I have a sweet spot for when it comes to elderly. I mean, the whole reason the show even started was a focus on elderly and senior issues. But I have a sweet spot.
You and I could do a whole show on that too, because we kind of have the same life experiences. So we'll have to do another one. So.
Yeah, so the point was that on his little, very limited amount of space to put anything on his bio, for years and years and years, and we've all probably said it, genuinely, we've said, leave things better than you found them.
Okay.
Right? Leave things better than you found them. What he put on there, which was such a sort of a moment for me, is he said, leave somebody better than you found them. Leave people. It took it from an impersonal leave something to making it about the people. And for me, that just took it to another level. Like there was a clarity to the point of what we're talking about about clarity. When I'm not giving, which I'm giving always, whether it's my design profession, whether it's whatever I'm doing, I give because I don't think you can be in a creative field or a creative output without giving part of your soul into the process. But when it comes to things like volunteering, you know, I'm on the board of Project Independence, right? I mean, it's I've told you, you know, I've kind of helped with some nonprofits. You guys have basically set up a nonprofit in Orange County organically in the course of a pandemic.
Yeah. When everything is shut down too.
Yeah, and worked around challenges that under normal conditions you wouldn't have been challenged by, and so I can't wait to see where you guys go with that. And I am sure as heck that the footprint impact that you guys are leaving behind professionally is amazing, but on this human level, especially in your immediate local area, it's fabulous. And that's, Paul's like signaling me. We're gonna take a couple more minutes, Paul. So 2 things, Eric, before we go. When is your thing tomorrow? Because if I can make it, I would love to be there.
You know what? It's going to be an early morning. I think we meet at 7 o'clock. Okay. If you could come with us, I will give you that penny.
No, I'm not going to. Oh, you're going to give me the penny. Okay. I thought for a minute you were giving me that. Damn it. You were sharp. You were quick on that one.
You know what? It's like you're always going to be the penny guy for me.
You know what? I'll take your pennies any day.
I think we have to be up there at 9 a.m. So what we do.
Where are you leaving from?
So we're leaving from Oahu's.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and text you the information.
Yeah, text me the information. If I can make it, I would love to be there.
Yeah, and so this is kind of a big media day. I think we have KMBC coming out. They're going to be doing interviews at 9 and also 11. We got KLOS people being a part. It's going to be a big thing. So, and I really need to give it up for Wendy. Wendy from KLOS, that's the part of the team here, is that without her, she coordinates and makes the magic happen.
Yeah, Wendy.
I don't know how she does it. It's like every Thursday night she's working 3 hours just getting all of the bullet points together for the 5 minutes in the morning. But so she's the master at it. So I will get the information from her and get it over to you. I never typically look and figure out what the next one is until 6 o'clock at night when I leave the office, because it's a machine here. So that would make my 200 if you show up to help us put the burritos in the bag and deliver to the hospital, and it'd be great. So
and unless I have something to do with my dad tomorrow morning that I cannot basically, he's not handled, kind of, which he should be.
If you go out to dinner,
otherwise I will be there.
If you go out to dinner tonight, don't have all those drinks.
Yeah, okay, I'll try. I'll try. Eric, the other thing I want to just say, because we did promise people that we'd have a Q&A, I would like to have you come on. Maybe we'll do it as part of a show, or maybe you and I will just get on Facebook and do this. But I really want everybody to know that we really want to give you an opportunity to ask Eric some questions. We understand that we're all in challenge right now. There may be some good advice that he can give you right now. As you see, the gentleman is very much a giving soul. So I will try to set that up with you, and then we'll let people know. I apologize that we ran out of time and we're not able to do it today. And Paul was very generous with letting us run over a little bit.
But if you just want to go to our website, lucyusa.com, go to the news section, you can pull down our Outlook.
It's a great report.
It's not a gated piece. We're not asking for your email. We're not charging you $495 for it. We're giving it to you.
Not even a penny, actually.
I'll charge you a penny for it if you want. So
I'm taking a penny from you, right?
There you go.
But I appreciate you being on, Eric. It really is always a blast, and I'm glad that we did this. We will do it again, I am sure. So I will see you later. But Paul, thank you again for having us on.
Thank you, Paul.
Take care, everybody, and join us for another episode of the Raad Life. By the way, this was our first episode of what we're calling the COVID Chronicles. That is basically made possible by OC Talk Radio, and a generous part of that. And there's the COVID medallion. So thank you, everybody, for your support for the last 6 years of the Raad Life. come join us next week, Wednesday, when we will have actually Katrina Foley, who is the current mayor of Costa Mesa, who's also running for supervisor. She was instrumental in a lot of the stuff that happened in Costa Mesa during COVID, and she made it possible for that to be a safe city that was really functioning. So please join us next week, Paul. I think it'll be 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
12 o'clock, yeah.
Normal bat channel, the normal bat time.
Yep, we're going to do it. Are we going to do it on Wednesday, or are we going to do it on Friday? We're going to do it on Wednesday.
No, we're going to do it Wednesday. She's scheduled for Wednesday. So next week, Wednesday, everybody, 12 o'clock noon, Katrina Foley. We will be doing the second episode of the COVID Chronicles. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thanks. See you later.
You have been listening to the Raad Life Radio Show with your host and age explorer, Rod Gantos, brought to you on the one and only octalkradio.net. Join us again next week as we continue our journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older.